Welcome to Heat number 3. I'm in the zone. Are you? There's a lot of things happening today. Some pretty big names showing up in the lobby who are going to be competing for a spot in next week's finals. We'll get to that in a moment. First, just real quick, I heard some of y'all were talking about my hair. Chill, guys. I'm just growing it out. I want to look nice for globals, okay? Cut me some slack. Let's get our analysts in here real fast, okay? It's Kelly, it's Vivid, your best friends. That's right. Look at their shining faces. They are excited because, Kelly, this is a pretty big heat.
You know, I mean, Vivid's been breaking down the Heat numbers, and we're going to be doing that as well in just a second. But I mean, from what we got to see yesterday, the drama unfolding, and now Heat 3, we have a little bit more drama coming to our viewers' way, Vivid. I am so excited. We've already had 30 teams that have punched their way into the grand finals next week, and now we're going to find 15 more. Whew, can't wait.
Yeah, I know when Heat and play-ins finally finished and then the Heats were kind of determined, all eyes were kind of set on Heat number 3. And because of like some rescheduling and how the Heats have actually worked out, it kind of feels like we've had this buildup of a weekend going from Heat 1 to Heat 2 to Heat 3, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Our weekend has been filled with entertainment, and I cannot wait to round it out here with Heat number 3 and all of the drama that Kelly mentioned.
Oh man, more on that in just a little bit. First, we kind of wanted to highlight this being that last heat. Height is a path to victory, right? Height is a way to secure a VR and make it through to the finals. We have only 5 games to do it. Or Kelly, they're looking to fight their way through the LCQ. So, you know, what's the strategy here going into today?
So I think because it's Heats, you actually can't really go into it with a solid strategy. You kind of have to play on the fly. But Bucky and Zen played this clinically, as we love to say here. They saw that high ground was kind of a little bit distracted, especially with the zone moving away from them. So they used the launch up into the air, get the elimination, and then they're able to hold that high ground until the very end. And you can see Bucky was prepared for that win condition of the heal off. Being able to hold high ground from zone 9 definitely helped. But sometimes not everything's going your way. Much like Mako and Blanks here. They literally were taking storm damage by zone 9. They were low on mats, but you know what they did, Vivid, which sometimes people don't do on during heats, is to look up. Sometimes during heats, for whatever reason, our teams do not like to look up, and literally during that game, no one was on height. And so all Mako and Blanks had to do was see, oh, there's no one up there, and they were able to kind of play that well. They literally were taking storm damage, but being able to observe, see what's going on around you, and use that to your advantage is such a big part in heats just because of how unpredictable it is.
Exactly. It's one of those things on NA right now. It kind of looks like we're searching for a little bit of height identity, and we keep talking about all the drama that's going to be going on today. I feel like there's a couple of teams in Heat number 3 who will definitely be going up there on the high ground and having it secured from game to game. We'll have to see how it kind of pans out, but we're in a win-based format right now, Kelly, right? And high ground is just that position that everybody loves to win games from. So sometimes these teams are like, oh, surely there's somebody up on the high ground, surely they're healthy up there, because why wouldn't somebody be up there? That's where you want to be to win the game. So, you know, sometimes you get faked out, and yeah, you just got to walk on up.
That's tough. Well, today is the day that we need to make sure we are looking up, right? Again, we don't want to take it to LCQ. We want to try and qualify here and now. Now, before we talk about some of the players we'll be seeing in the lobby, why don't we go meet up with your casters, MDF and Jacob, and get their thoughts on Heat 3.
Yeah, look, we're flying through the weekend. It honestly, literally blasting. Heat 1's over, Heat 2's over. They were both super exciting. Heat 2, especially yesterday. Yeah. Jacob was so much fun. But today, you know, we know who we're going to be talking about, right? The big dogs, obviously the Clixes, the Peter Bots. Now we got Bugha here.
Yeah, let's go back to the OG days. The World Cup champion Bugha paired together with Craze this weekend. And even though today you see there are uncontested south side of Battlewood Boulevard, getting here, that was not the case. They were regular contested, triple contested, quad contested, proving that Bugha's new resurgence to his dedication, his passion of Fortnite is truly here, moving it with clicks. Guy has not seen the light of day, going to show how much time he is putting in this game.
You know, Bugha's really interesting. He manages to stay so consistent year in, year out, and then he picks up new teammates all the time. You know, the last throw we'd say was when he was paired up with Foya, but you know, the pressure was on him. Foya was young back then. Craze is almost in that same situation where now he's the underdog. He's the new guy kind of stepping up to fill in pretty big shoes, we might say, right? Playing in the shadow, that is Of course, Bugha, one of the highest, most earned, most accoladed players in the Fortnite space. Jacob, how do you think he's going to hold up?
I think he's going to hold up well. Craze has played so phenomenally at the beginning of the year. We just got to see if the Lion does return. Right, Zeke?
You know, ask and you shall receive, Jacob PR. You want to hear what a lion sounds like? Nope. See, I'm not going to do it. See, this, I'm keeping you guys on your toes. You thought? Nope, not me. You did. Nice try. Okay, let's take a look at the lobby itself, right? So we did this in the first two heats. We broke down some of the stats of the duos we saw in the lobby. So as we start to kind of bring up some of these numbers, what's interesting is some of these numbers are kind of crazy, right? You know, if we even look at appearances, right? Heat 1, 239, Heat 2 yesterday, 308. Now we look at 278. So break some of these numbers down for us.
I mean, we talked already throughout the last few days just how these heats have kind of balanced out. Yesterday was definitely the veteran, like we like to call it, of our heats, where they did have more FNCS finals appearances. But Vivid, to me, there's a few other numbers that are sticking out. Although we have less finals appearances, there definitely seems to be something standing out.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that we have 13 total FNCS wins shared amongst only 3 players. That, of course, is going to be Peterbot and Pollo, and then who Jacob and MDF just talked about, Bugha. And I got to say, I got to share that excitement there for Bugha. Man, I really hope we see him start to pop off here in this FNCS starting today and then leading into Grand Finals. It would be awesome to see, but we know how stacked the lobby is, man. I'm excited to get into the action.
Never count out Bugha. Never. Don't do it. Don't do it. Let's take a look at this live list, okay? Let's just take a look at the first page. Vivid spoiled some of those, so did MDF and Jacob, but don't worry about it. Let's just look at this first page, right? Take in some of these names right now. Let's look at that top left, Isho and Dolzer. Coming into today, we need a victory royale or to end in consistency in the top 10. What can we expect from this duo?
I think between Dolzer and Isho, they're going to be landing Dark Dominion, which is not where they've been typically landing, but I do think they're going to have definitely a fine time over here. They've been playing together since the start of the chapter, but if you actually look at their Div Cup performances, they've gotten a 3rd and a 5th. Out of those performances, though, they have not been able to claim a victory royale just yet, but I do not think that that spells anything negative for this duo. They definitely play more consistently. They play kind of more to the low and mid ground, although we are seeing right here that if the position kind of opens up itself, that they will go for high ground. So although we might not see a win out of them, Vivid, I can definitely expect a top 10 performance.
I actually think it's going to be the exact opposite, Kelly. I think this team's going to get a win. They look at the stats from the play-ins. They got 6 wins throughout those play-ins. I mean, I know it's a little bit different, right? How those lobbies kind of stack up against one another, but this was the team that actually picked up the most wins throughout the play-ins, right? So coming into the heats, I feel like this should be a team that is going to be able to pick up one of those wins. But I mean, the experience maybe not so much there for them, right? Only a total of 7 FNCS finals appearances amongst the 2 combined. So maybe the pressure will get to them. They won't win a game, but coming out of the play-ins, they look good.
All right, okay. This is maybe a little bit of a different situation, though, right? For both of you, this is a heat, right? So play-ins is like a level 1, and then we go to heats. That's another tier up, right? So they're going up against some other big names, like as we bring up that lobby list, Iamzo and Josh. I mean, come on, Zoe, freaking legend, paired up with Josh. Do we expect something, you know, if Vivid expects, if a VR from the last team, Kelly expects consistency, where do we line up on this duo?
Oh, they're going for the win, 100%. They got Frigid Fortress. They have it uncontested, and honestly, they have looked so good throughout the chapter, besides a little bit of issues that they've had with their drop spot, which has been resolved a while ago. Iamzo and Josh are just so dominant on the low ground. They are so aggressive, and then, of course, when it does come down to those win conditions, Iamzo is such a smart player. He has no problem being able to control high ground, and look at the plays that he is able to pull out, Vivid. He can punish some of the opponents that he sees on the map.
Yeah, I mean, just one of the smartest players we have on the region there. And I feel like we're starting to see a little bit of a trend being set here in the FNCS. Iamzo, kind of like that vetted player, picking up Josh, who, yeah, a little bit newer to the scene, right? That young gun who's going to be pretty mechanical. We already talked about a duo earlier on, Bugha and Craze. It's kind of following that same formula, and I'm excited to see if it actually pays off right here.
You know, they were talking about a new era of Fortnite over in EU. I'm wondering, are we seeing the same thing over in NA? I don't know. What I can count on, is one thing as we bring up this lobby list. It's cheese. It's the big cheese of Vive paired up with yet another king. No, it's not the Brazil king, but it is still a Slayer in the same ways. I mean, Kelly, talk to me about this duo.
Yeah, I mean, just how it was so confusing for a lot of us to say that this wasn't the Brazilian king just because of how good King Ling has been looking, especially partnered up with Aviv. I mean, Vivid, you were just talking about it. These kind of veteran players such as Aviv joining up with a newer player like King Ling, who has only had, what, 2 or 3 appearances in an FNCS finals. So once again, just so smart, kind of understanding what you need to be able to fill out your roster a little bit for Aviv. And with a King Ling, a fragger like that, Aviv just picked such a great duo. And I think that they're going to have such a good time in the grand finals.
All right, Zeke, a bunch of these duos, they look good statistically. They look good on paper. They look good in some of the games, but lead us into the drama. Where's the drama at on NA right now?
Okay, let's take a look at this lobby list. You guys looked at that first list. You're like, man, this looks pretty stacked, Zeke. That's crazy. Let's turn on over to page number 2. Peterbot versus Clix. Happening here early. I can't believe somehow we found ourselves in a situation, Kelly, where 2 of the, we had a rivalry season going on, and I thought, oh man, that's crazy. Foundation versus Ice King. Just kidding. Maybe it should be Clix versus Peterbot. I mean, these guys' story goes back so far, and now we're kind of getting a little sneak peek of finals here in Heat 3.
Yeah, there's this episode of Dragon Ball Z where Vegeta and Goku are in the World's Strongest Man competition and they face each other in the first round of 32, and Krillin says, this is like having the last round first. And I kind of feel like we're getting a little bit of a taste of that right now between Peterbot and Clix. And if you go back and you look at the lineage, if you look at the numbers here, there's a FNCS titles obviously goes to the way of Peterbot. But for me, Vivid, it is not looking at the comparisons. It is looking at the growth, the climb that we have seen from Clix and Higgs. And for now, I think that this is the closest that we have ever seen Clix and Higgs be able to take on the juggernauts of Peterbot and Pollo.
Yeah, obviously, there's a lot of talking around the town about, these guys going head to head. They're in calls. They're always talking about each other and everything like that. But in game, like Kelly is kind of pointed out, yeah, that skill disparity right now feels pretty close. And even sometimes in the way that they play the game, Peterbot and Pollo, we know exactly what their plan is going to be in the end game. They have been the height kings on NA in the world for as long as I could possibly remember. But take a look at some of the Clix and Higgs games and how they've played out some of the tournaments, some of the scrim games. I feel like they, as a duo, also are going to be interested in going for the high ground, or at least they've been practicing it, right? They know the plays. They find the synergy to go ahead and go up and secure the high ground. The only question that I have is, right, they know they're going to be in the same heat as Peterbot and Pollo, the ones that are going to be up on the higher ground for sure. Are Clix and Higgs going to have the confidence to put all of that practice into fruition when they know who is going to be on the opposing side up on the high ground? That to me is the big question that I will answer today. And, I wouldn't be mad if this was able to happen over the course of all 5 games. If neither of these teams won a game, but, of course, they were secure on that leaderboard, I would love to see it happen all 5 times.
Okay. I like that. Obviously, we're going to ham up the rivalry between them. I think at the end of the day, they are still, they're good friends. If you're tapped into the Big Brother Faxity, he kind of called out himself at the end of their one tournament. They kind of came together and like, hey, look, it's all good, man. It didn't work out, but look, respect, right? So we're excited to see so many big names fight it out here in Heat number 3. It could go any which way, but I'm getting word the battle bus is ready. So Fortnite fan, buckle up. Heat 1, or game 1 of Heat 3, there it is. Starts now.
It's been a wild ride just to get to this point already, Monster. From Heat 1, Heat 2, 30 teams have already punched their ticket to finals. Today, we got 5 more games, 15 more spots, and you want to make it in here because LCQ just gets so much harder.
Yeah, it's going to be a short break, a day off, and then straight into the LCQ. So there's no rest for the week. This is going to be a very close competition. Here today, I mean, you're looking at the duos that we're jumping on in. We really get to round out the story now for NA here.
Yeah, especially since if you look at Heat 1, a lot of our big names chose to play through consistency. That way they got that extra practice. Heat 2, we saw a lot of our superstar names win games early, get the rest of the day off. Let's only imagine what we're going to see here, because we got Peterbot Popoyo contested drop. If they win game one, who knows? Teams probably could move over there. Maybe they feel a little bit comfortable. Same thing with Clicks and Higgs as Wonky Land. And these are some of the best POIs in the game right now due to the Rift, due to the Ferris wheel. It's just almost unlimited mobility while everybody else has to rotate to the zone. You can dodge that mid game. You could dodge a lot of the damage and the chaos. It's just a matter, do you win a game? Do you play for practice? And I think that's the biggest question for a heat like this. But lucky, the game is ready and our questions are ready to be answered.
Heat number 3, game 1 is here, and now we get to see how things are going to play out. And you laid out all these different scenarios. Heat 1 had its own story. Heat 2 had its own flavor. Heat 3, when you have someone like Peterbot, we've seen him do things time and time again completely different to the normal expectation, and that is normally throwing a boulder in the road, right? Literally causing a blockade for other teams. I'm more curious to see if they end up dominating as much as they can early on and then playing spoiler for other people that can be immediate competition, forcing them into the LCQ. I don't want to name names, right? I don't want to put that on anybody. However, we have seen Peterbot go to that length, and he's willing to go to that extent.
Yeah, and already you can see that reputation that they have for off-spawn fighters, they're actually not contested this time around. Smacked and Ace, they went ahead and marked that drop spot saying, hey, we're going here. So now they have a chance to surprise contest somebody else and really catch them off guard. As we got Tyler and Chance, we probably missed the off-spawn fight. It happened this quick. Tyler with the first drop onto Rezi. Paper takes a 1v1 against Chance, and they quickly wiped them off the map in game 1.
Yeah, they made that look nice and easy. Take no damage as well, so they really get to maximize their damage side of things. Zesto and Slamdo right here with Cairo playing up, trying to D this team out from the side. I like the angles that they're playing, however, they're not quite finding success here. Low on ammunition now, low on builds as well. Taking a little too much time to initiate, and both sides have kind of gone the distance, already sinking deep into their heavy material counts. MVP ends up turning things around, and that's what I'm talking about. Take a little too long to initiate, and now it comes down to 50-50, and MVP just has the better loadout.
Yeah, it's just getting that purple shotgun right out of the gates. And this is one of those drops where you can 50-50, but there's chest on top, there's chest down below, there's floor loot scattered all around that building. So sometimes those do get a little bit prolonged, and you got to find an opportunity to capitalize on any mistakes. You see Aiden and Waffle trying to hide. They see the team go into the bush, quickly fires that shot in. No big damage going off just yet, but they do have some splashes and some minis to regenerate some of that shield. It's just all about timing here, because you see in 4 fields, there's a third team in the distance that can temporarily disrupt this, but Waffle sees that from a mile away. Good damage, and it wasn't even on the team he was initially trying to fight.
Yeah, that was crazy. A couple headshots right there, put him in a strong position here, and if I'm hitting those shots, I'm pretty content with where I'm at on the Surge. Yeah, I'm gonna say, you want to back off now. They've taken no damage here, and they've laid down the law for a little bit. Meanwhile, in the feed, though, I think Hoyos continue to get active on the team that was just their north side of the drop. So it seems like things are heating up for Peterbot and company already.
And for Waffle Joe and Aiden, I do like this decision. It does look like that we're going to try to box fight that team down below. Third party comes in, they get their damage, and they just leave. Monster, this is literally exactly what you were talking about. The team landing just above Squibbly's shores. They have a 2v1, and they make quick work of that one, and that's their second elimination. So you could tell they chase down Lawrence and Batman Joe.
Yeah, quick, easy eliminations. It's one thing to contest them head on. It's another to land near them. And if you stick around for too long, I mean, it happens time and time again. If any team does studying on Peterbot and Boyo, everyone in their vicinity is a part of their strategy. They'll eventually have something for you. You got to be prepared for that every single game. And if you're not prepared, well, you'll learn a lesson here today in heat number 3. These set lobbies, Noah and Carbone, remember, they were pretty much going head-to-head, Jacob against Moxie's duo. So seems like they've managed to survive the drop so far.
Yep, over towards Painted Palms. We saw it early in the heats when we had Rise and Curly contested game 1, maybe even game 2, they split it. But as the day went on, they realized where they're at in the leaderboard. They said, hey, we can't keep going throughout the course of the game with the loadout, with what we have. We have to fight for it a little bit more. Maybe that'll be the case Josh Iamzo, uncontested towards Frigid Fortress, and they're able to get a lot of what they need for their loadout here at their actual POI. And depending on where the zone goes, that's where they have that rift over towards their west. They can immediately move towards the south, so they have a lot of options here.
Definitely enjoying the options, but let's jump into the fights right here. Waffle Joe Aiden taking that time to fish on the outskirts now have attracted the attention of the teams holding the outskirts. What's interesting about this, the zone is playing to the side, so these are teams that have a lot of time to hold you out right now. Curious to see how this is going to end up developing here. Cynix moving in. Another team lurking just on the outskirts, and there it is. They end up just meeting here for a bit on the edge of the storm. Bold move by Power there to just move in the open. Gets tagged a couple times.
Yep. Power Penta, they kind of land over here. Sandy Strip, contested drop. They don't want to fight, so they immediately go north. But Peterbot Pollo continuously on the hunt. And you said it early, it's just all the teams around their drop. They just went ahead and play into their reputation and just pushing and keying anybody close by, whether it's at their POI or not. That's a whole team up above. You see Peterbot shockwaving up, trying to continue to maintain that high ground advantage. Drops down, but it's Pollo who gets knocked altogether. Logan gets the elimination as well. Full HP, 2v1 against Peterbot on the other side, and now he's making that decision. It's time to shockwave off. They built so high up that you're gonna have to use a lot of resource if you continue to maintain that fight. But luckily for Pete, even a third-party shots come in to try to cause a little bit of a distraction.
Again, see that little cleanup there, and if they just had a bit more controlled fire, they might have been able to take Peterbot out after the shockwave. So we'll see how things end up playing out right there. Meanwhile, Zune and Noisy here, back on over to the Sandy Strip. There's been continuous action here. I'd say most notably in game number, or Heat 1 really is where we saw the most of it. Penta's just watching this fight kind of go down. I'm not sure how I like Noisy all in the mix right here with Zune and his teammate not quite there to back him up. So this is very, very risky, almost giving away this clean fight.
Yeah, Power just got approached from both sides. Noisy cleans that one up. And this is where I kind of have to be scratching my head, because Noisy, Zune, they were contested by this team at Sandy Strip. We saw Power and Penta go north, get a couple of surge tags, then come back to Sandy. So it's an interesting decision to fight afterwards instead of on the off-spawn fight, but sometimes that's just the name of the game. With the zone pulling in this direction, though, Penta's going to have no choice but to continue to move up towards the north, out of zone, and hopefully get the revive. But Peterbot gets the reboot onto Pollo, goes down to Logan, and now it just looks like Logan has already eliminated Pollo before. He's eliminated Peterbot. This might be the counter, because now Pollo's dropped down to 6 HP, and they are fully eliminated out of game 1.
That's crazy. That's a huge upset right now. You know, I was talking about the momentum being on the side of possibly the Peterbots and the Pollos to go ahead and pop off and then play spoiler for others. However, it's Logan and Mike who are leaning right into that story right now, and look who's happy about it. It's Clicks and Higgs sitting just nearby. Get to watch it one more time. Logan has just got Pollo's number. 195 onto Peterbot. Oh my gosh.
I just hear that the old school cannot 200 just right there. Logan Bot taking a page out of Peter's playbook right here, and then just the way he's approaching this, full confidence over Pollo, just destroying the builds with the Thunder, landing the shot with the Iron Pump. That is just absolute madness, but it just goes to show, like, maybe everyone is right from EU to NA and all the regions in between. This might be the season for the up-and-comers.
Yeah, I don't know what else to say about that. I mean, Logan just played that exceptionally well. He looked perfect almost in the fight, very textbook, and you know, most importantly, he hits the shots that matter the most. But hey, after that, pressure's on now to continue to perform. You showed us what you got. Hopefully it's not the best, right? If they want to make it the finals, they'll have to keep that level of pressure and consistency up.
And what I notice here, as we see Clicks and Higgs just outside of Squiggly Shores, this is, you know, uncharacteristic like of what we normally see in their game plan. They're one of the teams, because they have uncontested towards Wonky Land, they have that wheel, and then you combine it with the Shockwave and the Fizz, it sends you flying across the map, and depending how you line it up, you can hit the rifts for extra 0%